What's up, man? We back at it with the Workman podcast. We back with the traditional episode. Got your boy Elgin Woodside here. Got my boy Christian. What's up, bro?
What it do, dog? How we doing, man? How you living today?
Man, it's a good day, bro. I'm feeling great. Got a cup of coffee here, bro.
Oh yeah, I'm sipping on the tea right now. I had to switch it up. I've been drinking coffee at work, so I was off today. So I was like, let me get some tea in my system.
Oh, yeah, boy, got the tea going. Good,
Yeah,
good,
man.
good, good herbs in his body.
Nah, for real.
But nah,
But
man, here at the Workman podcast, we just here to bring you personal, professional, and financial advice just to help you along your journey and navigate through these new strategies that we have in this world today. So yeah, bro. How you feeling, bro? What you want to talk about today?
man, honestly, I realized with the wealth of information that we got coming in on a day-to-day basis, like right, we kind of talked about on the last episode just how much information there really is coming in and how to really focus in on it. Like how you have to focus in on that one thing that you're good at. You know, like I said, picking your tree and watering and letting it grow and flourish. So it's like one of those things that I feel like is another thing that we have to really deal with and talk about is, you know, how we go about learning those things, right? Because I feel like there's a real difference between learning a skill and learning how to learn that skill, right? Because everybody is unique, right? We are all unique individuals, and nobody learns the same. So all of us are really learn uniquely, you know, and there's different types of learning that can help, help us, understand and comprehend whatever that skill or whatever that material is that we're trying to that we're trying to get to learn. So I just want to talk about that today because I realize that's a real focal point, you know, because if you don't understand yourself and understand how you are and what suits you and your learning style, then you'll never be able to see that progression in whatever it is that you're trying to be successful at because you're just doing it. You may be doing other stuff that make other people successful as opposed to doing what's best for you to learn whatever you need to learn to achieve that success that you want in your life. So, um, yeah,
Yeah,
dog.
man. So it seems like this episode is for anybody who has any concerns on how to learn all this new information that's coming into the world. You might have heard about like the new opportunities. You know, you might have learned about real estate, stocks. You might have learned about some crypto. You might have learned, how to play the piano. Like it's really applicable to anything. Any new subject that you want to learn. But it's a process. It's a foundational process that you have to use in order to learn new material that anybody can use. You know, like when Kobe Bryant was really learning how to play the game, he learned the fundamentals first before he can build up on that and add his creative aspect to it. But first you have to get the foundation, lay the foundation, then you can build on that. But sometimes we try to be overly creative from the get-go and we kind of, put ourselves in a setback. So it's just going through that step-by-step process of understanding yourself, your learning style, and then building on that. So yeah,
And
bro. So
and I actually learned that too. Like just to piggyback off of that, I really realized that when it came as a coach, and I'm actually coaching my kids, right? Because now we play baseball, right? So I'm coaching baseball now, and I realized that a lot of these kids go to these like private trainers and these special coaches, and they teaching them about launch angle and
yeah,
all this
bro.
extra stuff that they see on TV when it's like you don't even have a foundation first. Like and
Exactly.
that me and my head coach talk about that all the time. We were just talking about it the other day, earlier this week, and it was like, as a kid develops, especially at this age, they just need to know the basics and the mechanics and the foundation. Because as they get older, their bodies are going to change. So they have to learn their body, know how to use their body. But as long as they have those fundamentals and that foundation, they'll be able to adjust, rather quickly. So you got to think about it like that as well. Like, when you're talking about growing, as a person, you're not the same person you were when you were 15 years old if you're 25 now, right? Your body changed, your mindset changed, all that. But when it comes to being successful, right, and learning different things, as long as you keep that foundation, in that case of learning, growing as a person, keeping your foundation, your guidelines for yourself, you're always going to be able to navigate any space. So when it comes down to just learn different types of learning styles, you have to know yourself and you have to keep that foundation like you were just talking about. And I know doing some research and really looking into it, just learning how to learn, because I realized, I learn differently from the way you learn, right? and we learn in different types of environments, different settings. But there are four different types of learning styles. So there's an auditory learner, right? So you're more adept at hearing information or hearing things, right? And you can quickly learn it. So think about Drumline, right? And that movie where he didn't know how to read music. He couldn't read music, but he could hear it and he could replay it back.
Mm-hmm.
So he was an
Mm-hmm.
auditory learner. You see what I'm saying? I feel like that's the perfect example, right? And some of us are. So those people are more adept at like maybe learning music lyrics, right? Or listening to different audiobooks and actually receiving that information. So if you find yourself listening to an audiobook or actually reading a book and you're not really retaining or understanding the information or keeping it or retaining the information in your mind, then try listen to an audiobook, because you may just be an auditory learner. You see what I'm saying? So until you try that, you'll never really know. Then you have a visual or a spatial learner. So that's people that really learn from like visual concepts. So graphs, diagrams, stuff like that. And me, friend, I am a visual learner. Um, I realized when it came to reading different topics and stuff, if there was a figure or a graph or something to go along with it for me to understand what they were talking about, I was able to pick up on it very quickly. And those may be the people that are good at like, graphic design, or maybe even, even the sciences for real, because you got to use a lot of graphing and things like that. And just different aspects of that. So, that's what a visual learner is. Now you got kinesthetic. So a kinesthetic learner is someone who's hands-on, right? So you have to be hands-on. You're not very visual. Well, visual plays a part of it because you're seeing what you're putting your hands on. But those people like, may be more adept at dealing with different material that has to deal with the subject, right? So you that may be the person that does well in labs but doesn't do good in the lecture. You see what I'm saying? But they need that lab to understand what's going on in the lecture. Like, just to use that example for real. And they're good because now they have their hands on whatever it is, whatever that topic or that subject is, and even able to touch it, feel it, and just understand it from that perspective, right?
So like
Or
kinesthetic kind of be like trial and error too, because I know
yeah,
sometimes like some people like to be hands on and actually like, even if they don't totally understand a concept, they'll just go ahead and try it and do it and kind of learn along the way. You feel me? And
mm-hmm.
somebody learn best like that. Like some people really, really do learn better that way. As far as like, just going out there and failing a little bit.
Right, and yeah, so that exactly applies to that too, right? Like even in the workforce, like a lot of stuff in these different positions in different companies, stuff like that. You're not going to really learn a position before you go into the position. You're going to have to get trained on and get the hands-on experience. For me, I was thrown in the water basically when it came to my job, because can't go to school for quality assurance. You just have to get into it and be hands-on. And it can be almost like a mental. It can mess with you a little bit mentally, because you're like, bro, I don't even know what I'm doing. But I realized I'm a hands-on learner though too, because I got into it and I was adaptable. I was able to adapt to that environment and understand too. So I really found out that I was more of a sort of visual and a hands-on learner. And then
So you can kind of be like a combination of these. It's not necessarily like you are just a visual learner. Like, because
right.
some people, like as they grow older, they can turn into a different type of learner than what they were previously. Because I remember when I was younger, I was more of like a visual, like spatial learner, like
Mm-hmm.
graphs, diagrams, stuff like that. Like shapes and numbers and like actually seeing figures and stuff. But then as I got older and I started listening to podcasts, audio books and stuff like that, like I kind of grew into more of that learning style, and it became easier to consume information that way instead of, looking at charts. So it could
Exactly.
change over time.
Exactly. And with all of these learning styles, when it comes to learning, period, we talked about growth mindset. So before you even jump into learning, or, you have to have the growth mindset to always have the ability to think that you can always be good at something or learn something.
Mm,
That's the only way you're going to be able to adapt to those different learning styles. Because you may see you're lacking somewhere, but that doesn't mean that, that's almost like succumbing people that think that your destiny is your destiny, right? As far as like this was set. Like I was born in this environment. Now I gotta stay in this environment because this is where I was at. Nah, you know what I'm saying? You can change and you can grow as a person. You just have to have that mindset to do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's that's a big part of learning. I feel like, honestly, that's what makes a difference in learning and learn these different skills and stuff like that.
Okay. Did we go
But
through all of them yet? Or you said we
and then
we
one
got
more,
more? Huh?
and then one more. It's like it's kind of like the basic one, or reading and writing. So you're just a learner. You can learn from reading and writing. So I also do that too. Like I can take some information, uh, and I can write it down and just read it repetitively, and then eventually I'll be able to retain that information. So like that's why I'm pretty good at like distance learning. Some people not good at distance learning because they have to watch videos, write down notes, but they need that interaction. They need that, they need that visual, like, or having that hands-on experience in the classroom, right? So it can be a mix of all these things, but reading and writing is like the most basic one when it comes to different learning styles.
I
Then it
feel
got some
like that's
different,
the one that like most people are like able to do because that's kind of like how we brought up.
right?
At least when we were in school, like we had to read and write, like take notes, homework. Go home, write this down, write this story based on this kind of like pamphlet or whatever, based on this little
Yeah,
little source of information that we give you. Now write a story based on this. So like you had to read it, comprehend it, and kind of like figure out a way to say it in your own words and like kind of like regurgitate it in a way. So it's like I think that's the foundational way that we all know how to learn, and then
mm-hmm.
from there we kind of branch off into our own like specialized way, whether it's auditory, visual, or kinetic. Based on that kind of foundational learning that we all kind of programmed to learn that way. You know.
Facts. And then like then it got two more really, but it encompasses the other four learning styles, right? So you have a intrapersonal learner, who's more so they learn by themselves. They don't do well with learning in groups. um Not to say they don't do well, but they can learn by themselves. They don't
They
have to
they
be.
they prefer to be by themselves
They prefer
necessarily.
to be by themselves to learn and understand the
Mm,
information that they're given. And you got interpersonal learner, which is a social learner. So
mm,
you're learning in groups. You're able to learn different settings, bounce ideas off of different people. So and so those two types of learning actually fall in place with everything, with all the other technical learning styles, because you're always going to either be learning by yourself or learning in the group, and you kind of have to decide or learn yourself or be aware of what environment you best learn in. You know what
mm.
I'm saying? So then you can
Bro,
go out and seek
honestly,
those
I
things.
think the intrapersonal learner is like that's super dangerous. Like being able to learn on your own, like that's a great trait to have because that
Mm-hmm.
means that you can always like no matter what situation you're in, you can always dissect information and kind of put it together in your own special way. You feel me? Like you don't need other people's ideas or opinions to affect the way that you think or go about something. Like
Right.
you have that automatic, I guess, like mathematical type of way of thinking, like that problem solving mind to where you could take in information and kind of like crack the code to it. And I feel like that's like super dangerous because nowadays it's like it's easy to find somebody who can have an opinion based on something they read or have an
Mm-hmm.
opinion based on kind of some preconceived, information that somebody else gave them. But being able to kind of dissect it for yourself is special like nowadays, I feel like.
Yeah, because that's it's hard to do that because of how much we're affected by other people's opinions. That's kind of how we are as humans. Like we care about what other people think. Like
Right.
honestly, you know what I'm saying. But if you're able to, if you are a solitary learner, you can learn your own environment. So not only are you able to dissect the information, now you can formulate your own opinion. And so now if you go into a social group setting, you can say, no, I think of like this. This is based on what I've learned and what I've researched and things like that. And then now you can bring your own opinion to the group as opposed to stepping into a group of people and looking for an opinion to side with. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
So I feel like it's like you said, it's a very good trait and a very good it's very important to be able to do that and learn by yourself, because there's going to be times where you're not going to be able to be in a group setting. Like think about the pandemic, right? You couldn't go different places, you couldn't do different things in groups or with people, so you kind of had to become that solitary learner, become that intrapersonal learner. If you have things that you want to do or other skills that you want to learn, you have to learn them for yourself, right? You had to do your own research. You had to dive into different audiobooks, podcasts, stuff like that, and learn these different things and retain the information. But if you were solely focused on being that social learner, or you feel like you couldn't, it's kind of hard to actually learn the information that you need to get where you want to be at. So
Okay. But yeah, bro. So like that's the different, I guess, types of learning. So like now we can kind of get into like the way the way of actually learning something, like the actual act of learning. Like what's the system behind, actually dissecting this information and getting it in your body and being able to kind of use it to your own advantage, being able to be a master at something and being able to produce it into reality. So like let's talk about the different types of learning. So like one of them that I know is like it's called focused thinking. So like when I hear focused thinking, the thing I think of is like a laser beam that can kind of like cut through something versus, like a flashlight. So like a flashlight can shine across like a whole room, but there's like lasers that can actually like cut through a person's body if they focus hard enough. So like whenever you focus on a subject, let's say we're trying to learn about baseball. So I could either say, let me learn about the game of baseball, the history behind the game of baseball, who created it, something like that. That can kind of be like the grand scheme of like what baseball is. But if I really wanted to learn the game of baseball, like let me learn about what a bunt is, or what types of bunting that they are, or like what pitch should I throw in a certain count based on what size this batter is, or their tendencies and stuff like that, versus me saying like what is baseball itself. It's like I actually got deeper into the game and like particular aspects and strategies of the game, you know?
right. So now you're really thinking deeply and really like focusing in on like not just the broad scheme of what this game actually is, but how to actually play it, right? And
Right.
how to be the best in certain situations. Like I find myself when I'm coaching my kids, I realize at this age when their ball is hitting to a certain direction with certain situations, they don't make those plays, or they're not or ready for the next play because they're not in the right position. So that's another thing. This is a game of angles, right? You have to be in the right position to not only make the play that's in front of you, but make the next play if you can't make the play that's right in front of you. So that's like a
Exactly.
part of that thinking. And that's that focus that you got to have, that
But
focus
let's but
thinking.
let's but let's say you're a brand new baseball player though, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna go jump into telling this person exactly, what pitch to throw in this count,
Right.
how to bunt, with an angle on it. No, you're gonna teach them how to regularly field a ground ball, or how to put their glove on the right hand. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna teach them like all that grand scheme information, kind of like the broad, scope. That way, whenever they're actually in the game, they have something to kind of connect it to, you know.
Right.
Because if you don't even know what the concept of baseball is, and you out here trying to learn how to bunt, it's like, why am I even learning this? Like, what purpose is this even serve? But if you understand how the game is actually played and what the game was made for, then you'll know, oh, I don't necessarily have to get a hit every time. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily have to hit a home run. I just got to get on base, because the concept of the game is to round the bases and score the run.
Right.
But if you didn't have that grand scheme information of like what baseball is, how it's played, and how you win, then you'll look at bunting and it's like, bro, you'll get burnt out way quicker because you don't have those connections in your brain. You feel me?
Right. Just like I tell my kids, like, bro, like, especially at younger ages, hit it hard and hit it forward. That's what we tell them. Just hit it hard and hit it forward. You don't care
Exactly.
where it go.
Good
Just
things
hit the
gonna happen.
ball and just run. Hit the ball, hit it forward. And he was like, before you throw the ball, you got to catch the ball. So we got to worry
Exactly.
about catching it first. So that's the simple things. And then as they get older, maybe like 13, 14, now we start teaching them different things about positioning. Okay, taking certain, taking certain pitches and certain counts. Like most people don't know, a walk does not affect your batting average. Take the walk, stuff like that. So that's what we start teaching them at that level. But that's exactly what I see what you're saying about just being able to, you got to introduce people to the concept and the why and what the foundation of even a skill is before you start diving into the nitty gritty. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So like, yeah. So the grand scheme approach is basically called diffuse thinking. And the way I kind of remember diffuse is kind of like dilute. So like whenever you say die or something like that, it's kind of like you're you're kind of spreading it out across a larger horizon. So like instead of you focusing in and like teaching a 5-year old every single little detail about swinging a bat, you teach them how to hold the bat. You put them on like a baseball tee or something like that, and kind of like just teach them, just the basics of what a swing is, like why you need to swing this way, instead of like trying to really like position their hands perfectly and stuff like that. Because
Mm-hmm.
as they grow into themselves, it's not necessarily going to be that way anyway.
Right.
Feel me? So you just teach them the overall concept. Like you teach them what a ground ball is, what a out is, what a fly ball is. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that, instead of getting overly focused. Because when you overly focus somebody and they have no background information, they are way more likely to give up, because they
Yeah.
don't really have no reason to continue to do it, because they have no background knowledge at all. You feel me?
Facts. Facts, man. And you got to find a balance, bro, especially when you're teaching like the youth. I feel like that's a major key. Like these are the concepts that you're gonna have to think about when you're teaching the younger generation about different things. Because I feel like even right now, uh, even when it comes to like crypto, NFTs, trading, you can teach children that like at a certain age, right? But you have to present it to them in a way and give them that diffuse thinking so they can understand why this is here, why we are doing this. Like so that way they can gain that interest. Because when they start to understand, that's when they'll start asking questions. That's when they'll start asking more questions to get that deeper thinking and really gain a better understanding of what it is, like what trading is, what it means to 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 buy low and sell high, like what a trend line is, all the other good stuff. When
Exactly.
as far as that, so
Like,
yeah.
what if we could tell a 10-year-old, instead of like, what if we said, instead of like forcing it, to them, as far as like, you need to learn how to code, you need to learn how to, do C++ or JavaScript or all these different programming skills. We'd be like, we just tell them, what if you can own a skin in Fortnite? And
Mm,
they'll be like, huh? And then like
right,
they'll start thinking and asking questions on their own. But it's like that's a grand scheme kind of question,
right,
because like that's the grand scheme of what NFT and all this blockchain and technology really is. But instead of us getting super detailed and saying you need to learn how to code and encrypt this software and do this, that's boring to them.
right.
Let me tell them, all right, we got to give them a purpose for why they even want to do this. What if you can create the next Fortnite? You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
It gives them a goal to kind of think of
I would,
instead.
and I would even go as far as just you learn how to 3D model, and then and just say, hey, you can create that same character in Fortnite
Exactly.
by learning how to 3D model, and you can own that skin. And then as far as the nitty gritty of creating an NFT and trading and then flipping or whatever, you can worry about that. You can worry about that as the adult, right? Like, but you can still explain that in a diffused way, so that way like, hey, if you make this, you can sell it and make money, and you can go buy all the toys you want to. Like that's the
Exactly.
goal, right? You know what I'm saying? Make it make sense to them. So
Yeah, bro. But yeah, that's what I had for the two main ways of thinking. So I kind of wanted to get into like, all right, so now that's the two ways, but in order for something to actually be ingrained in you, you gotta use both. You ain't kind of gotta use both. You have to use both. So like the way I recommended doing it, because this is the way that whenever I took the real estate exam, this is exactly what I did. So like the first week, I literally just was like watching real estate videos, like just random real estate videos, like on any type of subject, just to give me like some source of like information on like how real estate work, the process of like buying a home, or like the inspection process, like realtors actually do and stuff like that. And then like the next week, I'll lock in on one subject, based on the things that I heard. I'll lock in on one subject and actually start reading information on that. So like, let's say the first week I watched the video and they was talking about the home buying process. First, you got to get an appraisal. Then you got to, get the house inspected. Then the next week I'll be like, all right, let me learn like what an appraisal is. You feel me? Like, how's this appraisal system actually work? Like, how do they value the property? What kind of parameters are they using to value the property and like say that it's worth this much? What happens if it's not worth enough? Like, what if the appraisal come back and is lower? You feel me? So it's like you start asking questions as you get more information. Don't just start asking the questions without all the, knowing all the subjects first. You
Right.
feel me?
It's like reading a book, right? Like, so if you're reading a book and you're reading it and you see a word that you don't know, like, yeah, you can use context clues, but if you really want to understand, right, you're gonna go back into the dictionary and be like, what, or go on Google and say, what does this word mean? What's the definition of this word? And so
Right.
now when you get when you get that definition of that word, now the passage or that paragraph makes much more sense.
Exactly. Exactly. But you wouldn't know what word to look up unless you started reading the passage first.
Right.
So
Right.
you have to start reading the passage first and then get to the words that you don't know. Like with learning how to buy a house, is like I didn't automatically know what an appraisal was or something like that. But as I
Mm-hmm.
started reading and watching the videos, it's like I heard the word like several times. So I'm like, what is that? You feel me? Like it seems like it's
Right.
pretty important. So let me go back and look it up. You feel me? So yeah.
Right. And just like with the foreign exchange, right? Foreign exchange market. Like I was using baby pips for a while and they started off with, what is the foreign exchange market?
Exactly.
What is this doing? Oh, the market doesn't move in dollars, it moves in pips. Well, what is a pip? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? Right. So just now you're starting to dive in but you have to be able to ask those questions because, I like to say ignorance. People think ignorant is a bad word, and it's really not. Ignorance
Yeah.
just means to not know. You don't know.
Yep.
So,
Ignorant can be a choice too because ignorant, it has the word ignore in it.
mm-hmm,
So you
exactly.
you you ignoring the knowledge. You sometimes people really choose to remain ignorant,
Yep, yep.
and
And
that's fine.
that's what exactly what I'm about to say. So if you're reading this passage or looking at this skill or trying to read up on something and you hear something or see something that you don't know, and you just breeze past it, say like you just breeze past it and ignore it, now you're ignorant because you didn't make that decision to actually learn more about what was said that you didn't understand. You feel me?
Yeah,
And that's when you're going to remain ignorant because you're not making the choice to actually learn the information.
mm, yeah, bro. Yeah.
Dropping gems today. Just letting you
Good gems today. But nah,
know.
bro. So like, let's go into some of the strategies. So like, what are some of the strategies we can use to, like the little tactics and tricks that we could use to kind of process this information at a higher pace?
Mm. I was doing some research and I was looking at that, and I was looking at just what are some different learning strategies on learning, um, and I feel like the ones that really make most sense in that general sense, because some of these learning skills and learning strategies really almost only typically apply to the classroom, but you got to think of life as a classroom, right? Um, So there was a few that I thought was important across learning any type of skill, not just learning a subject like math, science, or whatever. And so one of them I know worked for me personally was distributed practice, right? And that's just basically the opposite of like a cram session. You feel me? Because you know how like in school you got a test the night before, you just cramming. Um, but if you study the information in small chunks, over time, it's going to be more effective because now you're studying the same topic in smaller blocks all at once. You feel me? But it's only one time. So, um, and I noticed that, but I noticed that worked for me because if I try to do a cram session, like the day before a test or something, then I would only remember so much of that information. But if I knew I had a test the week before, right? If I know I had a week to take a test, I would study a little bit of information every single day. You feel what I'm saying? And then I would cram all the information that I had learned. You
Okay.
did?
Yeah. So you would like spread it out over a long period of time. That way you not, because they say like once you cram, it's like it's hard to retain it. But like as you continuously, consistently learning something every single day, it becomes like a part of your like your overall knowledge. and it kind of
Right.
like sticks more, and it sticks more and more each day that you learn. You feel
Right.
me?
Right.
Because I remember whenever we was in foster, whenever we used to study for like engineering exams, like for exams, the exams that we kind of like took more and more time to kind of just like stretch that learning out over like a 2 week period instead of like a 2 night period, we would
Mm-hmm.
always like feel way more confident about the exam, like
Right.
going into it, bro.
And that reduces your stress too going in, because
Mm-hmm.
now you're not sitting there 2 days before trying to cram some information and wondering and just thinking about, okay, do I remember this? Do I remember this? Like
Exactly.
literally the last few minutes of the test, because that can cause stress on your brain, especially if you cramming all the information at one time. You know what I'm saying? And it gives you breaks. Like they say, like you should, when you study anything, you should like do 30-minute blocks, take a 15-minute break. 30-minute blocks, take a 15-minute break. 30-minute
Yep.
block, take a 15-minute break. Because now you're reducing the focus and the stress off of your brain on that specific piece of information. So like now
Exactly.
I don't even study. I like if I'm in even the gym, like I don't stay in the gym more than an hour,
Yep.
hour and a half. You feel me? Like I used to try to be in that bit 2-3 hours, whatever. And
It just
it was
adds
like
so much stress.
it adds
Like,
so much stress on your body when
yeah.
your body gonna do most of the building, and your body's gonna do most of the building and muscle gain and stuff when you're actually resting.
When you in a recovery state, yeah.
Right. Whether you're meditating or you're resting, that
That was
recovery
actually one
state.
of the techniques I was gonna hit on. I think it's called like the Pomodoro technique. And it's like it's actually something that I use and I never knew the name of it until like, I started researching it like a couple of days
Mm-hmm.
ago for this. And then I was like, dang, like I already do that. So it's basically like you do 25 minutes straight of like just straight focus work, then you take a 5 minute break. Then
Mm-hmm.
you do 25 more minutes, 5 minute break. Then you continue to do that. And then like as you continue to do that, you're gonna get to the point to where you don't even want the break no more. Like
Right.
after you start, because like the way that it works, it kind of like it teaches you to trade the 5 minute break as your reward and make the 25 minute work your reward. You feel me? Because once you
Mm.
get into that flow state of that 25 minutes, because like that's right when you about to get in your flow state. Once you get to that point, it's like you can be like, bro, like I'm in flow, like I don't even want to take the break no more. You feel me? Like I'm
Right.
getting the stuff done, and that sense of accomplishment going like shoot the dopamine through your brain, and it's gonna give you that
Mm-hmm.
sense of like that reward system, and then you gonna trade the 5 minute break for the work. You feel me?
Just like reading a book. Like I said, I'm gonna read 10 pages a day. I've been doing that for the past month, dog. And really not even past month, like the past few weeks. And now it got to a point where, like in our book club, we said we're gonna read up to this section. Okay, let me try reading a little bit more because I've been reading 10 pages and I've
Exactly.
been getting right there. But now I found myself reading chapters, like chapters of the book, because now I'm in that flow state and I'm immersed in what I'm reading and what I'm understanding and trying to comprehend. You feel what I'm saying? So this that can be applied to everything, not just like a studying or a test or whatever. It can be applied to anything for real if you choose how to apply it. But yeah, distributed practice, bro. Like get your work in, get you a little rest. Get your work in, get you a little rest, dog. That's the best way to even
Mm-hmm.
put it for real. Then you have elaborative interrogation. That's another learning strategy, and that just involves asking and answering why and how questions, right? And it's basically what we talked about, right? We get that diffused thinking, right? We get the overall concept, but now we're asking ourselves why and how these concepts or subjects are the way they are, you know. Um, but you're not only just asking, but you're answering too. So it forces you to dive deep into what you want to understand and want to learn. You feel what I'm saying? So that's something simple that we just talked about. And then self-explanation. And then self-explanation is really just being able to take the information that you're learning and apply to something that you already know. So that's basically what analogies are, right? For some of the things that we talk about, like I talked about, like taking a problem solving, looking at, and I got that from my 8th grade math teacher, because math is a pretty difficult subject for real. So when kids were struggling, he would say, or he was explaining something, he would say, you have to you're looking at the forest, you got to look at the trees, like only look at these specific factors, because that's what you're looking for in the problem. You feel what I'm saying? So um, being able to learn a skill or um, anything like that into that analogy, it's kind of like the same thing, right? Just relating different things to what we know. You feel me? And then that comes with teaching others, which is another strategy I like to say, because if you can teach somebody something like a skill or a topic or a subject, then you know that you fully understood and comprehended the material that you've been looking at or the skill that you've been trying to learn, especially if that person understands it, right? That's how you know you've almost mastered that skill or that subject. You feel me? And it's like each one teach one. So
I
if
feel
I
like when
learn
you teach
something,
somebody like that, like you said, like that's literally like the confirmation that you totally understand something. Like if somebody can call you out the blue and be like, "Hey, bro, I heard you talking about such and such. Like, can you explain that to me?" And you
mm-hmm,
being able to just really explain it on the spot, that's like
right,
complete confirmation. Like if somebody walked into Foster one night and was like, "Hey, bro, I had trouble with this problem. Like, it seemed like y'all got a good understanding of it. Can you show me on the board?" It's like boom. Now you just gotta get up and show them. Like, and like if
right.
you can literally just do it, it's like dang. Like you might surprise yourself on
Me,
some stuff. Like for
exactly,
real.
exactly. Just like the other day, bro, I was sitting here getting ready for this thermal engineering interview or whatever. But I wanted to read up on some concepts and stuff like that in case I was asking any questions about some of the stuff I work on, just so I have something to talk about, right? And say that I actually know it, because I'm down there on the floor dealing with it, but it's a different thing between just dealing with it and knowing it and really understanding the theory behind it and what it's actually supposed to do, right? So one of the parts that I had was actually a thermal component. Um, they were installing it or whatever, and I asked him a question about it. It was like, yeah, because I knew what it was when I saw it in the charts, like when they described it, but I didn't know what it looked like on the actual hardware. So I said, "Oh, is that the heat pipe that that got messed up or whatever?" And he was like, "Yeah, but I don't really know what it really does." But knowing that I was studying for that or looking at that material like early on, like the week before, I was able to spit out, "Yeah, this is what a heat pipe is. This is the components of it. This is how it works." And he was like, "Oh." And he was like, "Oh, okay, cool." But he's an engineer. He's been doing this long. He's been in this industry longer than I have. Number one. And then once I said that, I was like, yeah, I joked with him. I said, you would have thought I knew that. I was like, I literally learned that last week. I said, I literally learned that last week. I got a thermal controls book, and I just literally learned that last week. And I was like, you would have thought I had been dealing with that. I had experience with that, right? He's like, yeah, the way you explained it, I thought you majored in the college or something like that. And I was like, nah, I
Type
literally
shit.
learned it last week. And I was like, and he just started laughing. I started laughing because I was like, but in my head, I'm like, yeah. So I really did understand the material that I was looking at. So that's really like a
I
confirmation.
think people get that misconception like we have to go to college for everything that we want to learn. You don't have to go to college for nothing
Right.
no more. Like online learning is the new way of learning.
Facts.
Like before we know it, probably in the next 10 years or so, like colleges are gonna be almost obsolete unless they like somehow try to claim a monopoly on information,
Right.
which I don't know
Right.
how they're gonna do that, but
Because they don't own that. Because they can't. Because
right,
they don't. Ain't
it's
the ones that wrote
information.
it's information. It's out there.
Right.
People that publish the book own that information.
Exactly.
So you can't monopolize it. And so that's what I really learned and realized too. Like in different industries and different companies, whatever. Don't be afraid or to go out and seek those jobs that may seem out of your range or whatever, or don't be afraid to, get educated on whatever it is you're interested in, because it's all about just going and taking the action and going to read it. Like I literally read something that I didn't know anything about for 2 days, bro. I did it for 2 days straight. That was it. And I just kept looking at it, looking at it, looking at it. And I was able to sit there and explain it once I saw it in my reality. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you can do that with anything. You just have to have the
You
will
gotta have the
and
curiosity
the curiosity. That's what it
and
is. That's the word I'm looking for.
and the purpose to even do it. Like you had a
Exactly.
purpose and you was curious. You feel
Right.
me? Like the purpose is the first thing. Like you had a reason. You had an interview coming up. You was meeting with somebody. You wanted to have a great understanding of this concept. You feel me?
Yep.
Then you was like, what do I really want to learn more about? And he was like, dang, I'm kind of curious about these heat pipes. Boom, let me dive deeper into that. Let me ask the right questions to myself and dissect this information. You feel me?
Facts.
So it's like, yeah, that's the ingredients, purpose and curiosity. But yeah.
And that's why you can't procrastinate, dog. Like on the things that you want to learn, like on things that you want to do. If it
Yes.
comes into your mind, God gave you that vision for a reason. And I'm gonna say that right now. If you have a vision that came into your mind or saying that you want to do something, an idea or whatever, go and get curious and go seek that information.
Yep.
Because it's gonna come to you. It's out there, it's readily available. You know what I'm saying?
We gotta stop telling ourselves. We gotta stop having this negative self-talk with ourselves, bro. Like, I don't know what it is. It's like we have an idea, we start it, then we stop. We start, then we stop, bro. Like I had that problem before. And I really
Mm-hmm.
had to have a talk with myself. I was like, bro, like, why are you doing so many ideas and why you keep stopping them? And it's
Yeah.
because I had to really look myself in the mirror and be like, bro, you really insecure that you don't really believe that you're gonna do it. You don't really believe that you can
Mm-hmm.
execute on this one idea. You feel me? If you give your all to it, that's why you spread your focus so thin. And whenever I really looked myself in the mirror and thought about it, I was like, damn, bro, like you gotta get over that shit. Like you gotta stop being fearful, bro, for real.
Yeah.
And
Damn,
it's
that's
like
crazy.
it's really like real doubt. And I feel like it's kind of like really running rampant right now with a lot of people, just because
Mm-hmm.
it's so many options, but we don't really have like learning how to learn is the way that you build that confidence. Because once you learn the information so well that you feel like you done mastered it, then it gives you the confidence to stick to that one idea. But until then, you're gonna always have that insecurity because you know a little bit about a lot of shit.
Yep. Yep.
You feel me?
Yep. Hey, that's crazy, bro. Because when I think about myself too, I had to look at myself in the mirror and was like, bro, I'm doing all this stuff and I haven't like really mastered any of this. Like I haven't really maximized the information that I've been receiving for real, for real. Even when it came to books, I got so many books in my damn shelf that I realized I started and I stopped reading at some point. And I was like, when am I going to finish a book? You feel me? Like, and that's something simple. Like you gotta look yourself in the mirror and be like, what am I really doing? You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's really because
why?
like we get that high, like we get that happiness from initially buying the book because we think that that book going to somehow give us all the answers to our life. And then as we actually get into the book and start reading it, it's like this ain't all the answers to my life. And then we jump to the next one. You feel me? And then
Mm-hmm.
we like, oh, this book ain't it either. Like, boom, we jump into the next one. But the whole thing, the answer is not getting the book. The answer is you taking the small gems in each one of those books that you haven't been able to finish yet and put it together to make a goddamn transform, make you fucking Megatron in this bitch. You
Right.
feel me?
Facts. That boy said Megatron. That boy said Megatron.
You feel me? So
Nah,
it's
for
like,
real.
but we try to we give so much power to like outside information, but all the answers are already within us. It's just the belief and the confidence to execute on it.
And this is the only way to really build that confidence, bro, is like practice and really just learning yourself. It starts with
Exactly.
learning yourself first. Learning yourself. Why you doing something? What you doing it for? You know, what's your goals, right? Once you get those goals, and then you have to have the mindset that, like I say, that growth mindset to be like, okay, this is what I want to do, but I want to be open minded to grow and learn anything that's going to help me achieve this goal, right? Then you have to go on, okay, like if I know myself, okay, how am I as a learner? How do I learn best? Now let me go pick something so I can go learn it and maximize it. You
Yep.
feel me? And but then after that, after you do that, it's like, okay, I learned all this, I know all this, but now it's about repetition, it's about consistency, about discipline. You got to do it even when you don't want to do it. You could be dead tired, bro, dead tired. And I was just having a conversation with you the other day. Like I've just had this past week, I've been dead tired, like, but I've been
Me
staying
too.
up trying to learn this information because I told myself I was going to be consistent and I was going to be intentional with the goals and everything I had set out for this year. And I only say this year because I know if I can be consistent within this year, it's going to become a lifestyle. And I don't have to tell myself I'm going to be consistent this year no more because it's going to be automatically ingrained. And I said, if I was able to do it at this point when I was in school, like you said, we was in Foster every single night, dog. It wasn't no questions. We knew after practice, We were gonna go get something to eat, and we heading to Foster. We heading to the engineering building to go study whatever we had to study. It got to the point where it wasn't, oh yeah, you going to the building?
It
You
wasn't no
going?
debate. It
There was
wasn't
no
no
debate about it.
questions.
Like, yeah, I'm gonna see you. Yeah, bro, I'm about to go there at this time. All right, I'm gonna meet you over there after I get something to eat. You know, it wasn't a debate. It was just automatic. It became a lifestyle at that point. You know what I'm saying? And
And
that's
that
what you
kind of
want a
like
thing to do.
defeats the procrastination, because once you get in that habit of going every single day, of like doing something every single day, it's really not even an option no more.
Right.
Like it's a non-negotiable. It's a automatic. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like once you get that feeling of accomplishment consistently, and you keep breaking through that barrier, because like procrastinating is like a big ass wall that you got to bust through every single day. But as you keep busting through that wall, your shoulder gonna get so damn strong to where the wall gonna goddamn move out the way, because they like, damn, I don't even want to get
No,
bust
get
down
bust
no
up
more.
no more. Yeah,
You feel me? Like,
exactly.
like this dude really like ain't no stopping him. So I'm gonna just move to the next person. You feel me?
Exactly. Like they know what's coming. They know you're not about to sit there and turn around because you've been busting down the wall the entire time.
Exactly.
You got to bust down these walls, bro. And some of these walls we put up ourselves. You feel me? We build up our own walls instead of building houses and building the foundation around us. We building walls in front of us. You feel me? Like,
So what? Nah, you ain't just say that.
yeah, I didn't mean to say that. I did mean to say that, bro. Dead serious, bro.
Oh, what? Nah, I
So that's
ain't
why you
know
gotta
about
look
that.
yourself in the mirror every single day, because you got a brick in your hand. You gotta trust to either lay it or throw it away. You feel me?
That
Like,
man said, instead of building foundations, building our legacy, we building walls in front of ourselves and saying that we can't move forward. You feel me? With the
crazy,
wall that we built in front of ourselves.
because you the one that
But the
built
but
it.
the good thing about that, the fact that you built the wall, is the fact that you built the wall.
You can
So
bust it
you
down.
know that you know where the weak points at in the wall. You could bust that bitch
Right.
down if you want to.
Right. You can bust it down if you want to, if you so choose to. You feel me? And it's like when we build, it's like we think we're building a foundation, but we're not even looking at where we're laying the bricks at. For real, for real.
Mm.
We doing it blindly. We don't have no
Mm.
focus. You see what I'm saying? So when we building up, we like, oh yeah, I'm building this wall. Or I'm building this foundation. You feel me? And your focus isn't on, okay, where exactly am I laying each brick at? You
Exactly.
just laying the brick wherever. You feel me? And so, but by the time it gets built up, you think you ready to see a foundation. You think you about to see yourself standing on top of a foundation that you built. When in all actual reality, when you look up, you know, you done built a wall. And now you got to either bust it down or go walk or walk away or to sit there and mope. You feel me?
Right, because when the rain come, you only gonna be protected from one side. The fucking rain gonna come straight down on your ass. You be like, damn, this all this time I've been building, but I ain't really been building
Build
nothing.
it. Right. Right. Exactly. And some of us laying brick and then getting distracted by something and going to take an hour, 3 hour break and then coming back. And that's why, we feel like when we're trying to build this foundation, but it's never getting built at the rate that we wanted to, because we're distracted and we're going to do other shit when we're
Exactly.
supposed to be focused on this thing. Like Elon, we talked about this before. Like Elon Musk said, whatever time frame you give yourself, that's how long it's gonna take. So if you say I want to do this in 6 months, it's gonna take you 6 months.
It's
If I
gonna
want to
take
do
you
it
six
in
months.
if I want to do it in 3 months, it's gonna happen in 3 months. If I want to do it in 3 days, it happened in 3 days. Like you also have to be realistic about some of these goals and things that you say that you want to do within that time frame. But also, why be scared to condense that time frame down? Just because somebody else
Exactly.
did it in a year don't mean you can't do it in 6 months. You feel me? Just because somebody else did it one way, like that's getting rid of that comparison, and that comparison causes that procrastination because we feel like we are, we have to live up or be the same as somebody else in their journey and their path that they're walking down. When it's like, nah, I'm sitting here focused on what I got going on, so I have to go at my own pace and my own rate, however slow, however fast that may be, but it's your race, so you have to run it at your pace, nobody else's. But as long as you continue to move, that's all that matters. You feel me? As long as you make it through the workout, That's all that matters. Like people feel like when you taking reps and stuff like that, or you in a gym, that you got to give yourself a 30-second break, 1-minute break. And by this time you think you burnt out. Everybody's body ain't built the same. Take however long you need to get that air so that you can go back and do your full reps. Because I would rather you do the workout and finish all your reps than getting burnt out and then you doing it and then you doing half the reps.
Yep.
You feel what I'm
And
saying?
now you ready to leave, bro.
Now you ready to get up out of there because you like, damn, I can't even do this. Shit, take some of the weight off. Maybe the weight too heavy. Do what you got to do to get your reps in. You feel me? Because it's yours.
Don't
It's your
compare your
body.
day one to nobody year 5, year 10. You feel me?
Exactly.
Do not compare it, bro. It's incomparable. You can't live for that person. That person can't live for you. We all have our own independent experience. You feel me?
Facts,
Like,
bro.
bro, Rick Ross said, that boy said, I want every dollar that's mine, not a penny more, not a penny less. You feel me? He don't want nothing that ain't for him. If it's for another man, he don't want it.
Yep.
But he want every single cent that's for him. So push yourself to the maximum potential of yourself, of your
Mm-hmm.
energy, of your frequency. Don't judge your frequency based on another man. You feel me? So
Exactly. Hey man, I I think that's it, bro. To be honest,
for
we
real,
could really
shit.
finish. We could really
Yeah,
finish off on that, man.
I
Like,
think that's
but
it.
everybody watching, we appreciate you. You know, it's
Yep.
another beautiful day. And we just hope that you taking this information that we giving in it. Uh, you know, you dive into it for yourself. You start looking at yourself and looking at the things that you put capable of, your potential. 'Cause that's all we're doing it for, man.
Yep. I want
You
to
know?
thank y'all so much for listening this far. You can go look in the show notes. We're gonna have some notes in there about learning how to learn different tricks, different tactics, and some resources in there. Also, hit the website elginwoodsidejr.com. Got my book on there, The 7 Pillars of Mindset. Also, it's still February, so you can still sign up for the Block History Month and join our community in the Discord. What you got for them, Chris?
Man, just stay blessed and never stress. That's all
Yes,
I
sir.
got, man.
Like and
Dolo,
subscribe, so you can keep getting this information. Keep showing us love. We're gonna keep showing you love. You feel me?
let's go. Let's get it.
You said
All
you got that Dolo apparel for 'em?
yeah, dog. Dolo Apparel, doloapparel.com. Dedication offers limitless opportunities. And that's kind of what we're talking about here, the essence of the podcast, the essence of what we got going on, man. Just stay dedicated to what you have going on, your path and your faith, and stay faithful. And the opportunities are limitless, dog. You can
Yes, sir.
you can go accomplish anything you want to. That's the essence
Yes,
of the
sir.
apparel, the clothing brand. Big projects coming up. So just stay tuned for that. You can go follow us at Shop Dolo Apparel on Instagram. You feel me? And just tap in with us from there, man.
Hey, sound good, man. Y'all have a good night, man. Appreciate it.